There. Hey, what's up, rock stars? It's Rocks with a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blogs. So let's get to it. All right, rock stars, we're just going to start it out with a quickie, I guess, in politics. What is going on in Virginia? Child, the folks done ran the fuck amok up there, haven't they? So, we already had the governor, Ralph Northam, admit to the unfortunate picture that was taken of him back when he was in medical school. I believe they said medical school. Now I'm reading and I was like, did that say law school? Anyway, when he was in school, a picture of him in blackface, standing next to someone who was dressed up as a Ku Klux Klan member. He had already admitted to that, and everybody was after him that he needed to step down. He locked himself away and wasn't to be heard from for a day or two, and then he finally came out and said that he was not going to resign. All right, then we had Attorney General Mark R. Herrig admit that he had also dressed in blackface back when he was an undergrad. Now, Mr. Herrig, it would be nice to note that he was also calling for the governor to step down when his picture had surfaced. So it's funny to me how he all of a sudden admitted that he had this blackface. It was almost as if one of the homies from school called him and was like, hey, remember that one time when we was going to the party? Yeah, he hadn't forgot about it. Although now he's very contrite and he says that that has haunted him all of his days. I don't think so. You were at a party, you was having a good time with your friends, you had your black face on. I mean, obviously that was something that they were doing back then, Today, I think maybe child, you don't even know, but I feel like most of the white kids now know not to do that. So we had them too. Then we had to round it out. We found out that there's a woman that accused Lieutenant Governor Justin E. Fairfax of sexually assaulting her back in 2004. What is going on in Virginia? These are the top 3 state officials, all Democrats. You thought that the Democrats couldn't be racist, huh? Just when you thought the white Democrats had your back. All 3 of them, top 3 state officials. If all of them are resigning or stepping down, then the foothold that the Democrats have been able to gain and possibly win the state representation, it is probably going to be lost again to the Republicans. Now, the Republicans had not lost their state elections since 2009, but because Virginia was the only blue state in the Trump elections, they were hopeful that they would be able to gain control of the state there as well. Now it looks like it ain't gonna happen. Even though they're all still saying that they're not going to resign, it has become such a circus act down there that I don't see them doing anything else. And like I said, when all 3 of them resign, then it goes to a Republican. Oh, I didn't put in my phone who, but when I was reading, they were saying the 4th person in line to become the governor is a Republican. So really, when you listen to it, it's sort of like it's sort of a little trickery going on there, because how coincidental that all 3 Democrats have been caught up in some scandal right when they were ripe to win the elections there, the state, so, but you can't. The picture is the picture. I feel like maybe the Republican, I feel like it was sat on and they just waited to expose it at the best time. Yeah, it's bad though. Every day when I'm reading up on it, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on out there in Virginia? Can y'all get y'all people together? So yeah, that's the one little quickie. And then the other quickie is Cory Booker did put his name in for he's going to be running for the bid for presidency. I don't know much about Cory Booker. I really have to admit, in this last couple of years, I have been so detached from politics. I've told you guys this many times, and I don't really know much about Cory Booker. He was on like one of the morning shows Monday morning, and with what's the show with Gail? You guys know what I'm talking about. I sat down on my couch and I had my good eye, the cat eye, y'all, on him, and I was trying to figure it out. you know, how I felt about him just in general. And I still got to wait and see. I don't know. You know, I know people are saying that he's the new Barack 2.0. I didn't get that feeling. But like I said, we just gonna see what's gonna happen. There's so many people that's in the pot. I don't know if any of them has been the one that I'd be like, oh yeah. Okay, it's so funny. I remember when Barack Obama spoke at the convention, at the Democratic convention one year. This was back, I think I was pregnant with Jada. Okay, and I remember my boss at the time. She was an old white woman, okay, Republican, conservative, but cool. I can remember her telling me back then how captivated that she was by Barack Obama. And she told me, she said, he is going to be a president one day. And I looked at her just sort of like, you think so? You know, because in my mind, black man president? Yeah, I don't know about that. But I'll never forget that. Her name was Percy. I miss Percy. I don't even know if she's alive anymore. She was my boss when I worked for the DA's office in LA. But yeah, I remember her very clearly just being so overtaken by Barack Obama and his charisma. You know, him speaking up on that stage. I don't have that feeling with anybody that's running at all. You know, and that's the kind of feeling that I want to have. I want to be taken over, you know, with that. And it just, I don't know. So yeah, Cory Booker has thrown his name in the hat. You guys tell me what's what on Cory. I'll have to do some reading up on Cory as well. Many of you guys told me that y'all wasn't too happy with Kamala. I didn't know much about her either. And I still haven't read up on her, but those two definitely I'm going to be reading up on, as well as many of the other candidates. Because like I said, I think it's like 10 people that they've thrown their names into the hat, including Elizabeth Warren. Well, I don't think that she's going to get, you know, so anyway, that's it for the elections. I mean, the elections, for the politics, you guys. Let's move it on along. This is sort of strange sitting in this direction here. We want to send a rest in peace to Kristoff St John. Okay, he was also known as the character he played on The Young and Restless. Neil Winters had been on that show for, I mean, I can remember when I would be on break between classes at Cal State Dominguez. I would go to the student union and watch Young and the Restless in one of the rooms there. And he was a character back then, and evidently had been a character all the way up until recently. He took a leave of absence because of the death of his son. You guys remember back in 2014, his 24, I think his son was 24 years old. They had put him in a mental facility, La Casa Psychiatric Health Facility in Long Beach. Okay, they had entrusted the place to take care of their son, him and his wife at the time, and somewhere along the way, the facility was not watching the son. The son was able to kill himself. That was back in 2014, and it threw that family into a tailspin. They were very upset, as you can imagine. Your child that you know, you thought that you were doing the right thing, and it ended up being the end of their life. That situation, I believe, broke him. All right, I don't know if in the past if he's had issues with depression, but I know I can remember seeing him and his wife on some sort of interview. I don't remember what it was, but they were talking about the whole story of his son Julian at this facility, and they were so mad and upset about it that it's just, you know, sometimes like you can feel the way a person feels just by watching them speak. Like they were just, it was like tangible. That's what I want to say. I feel like that situation broke him. He was not able to really recover. He ended up taking a leave of absence from the show Young and the Restless in 2017. So he had been really on the show since back when I mean, that was 90, 91, 92, 93, somewhere up in there. But anyway, he was found dead in his Woodland Hills home on Monday. They're saying that there hasn't been an official cause of death. However, at the time when it first happened, they're saying that they suspected that it was from alcohol poisoning. So as he's been dealing with trying to get over his son's suicide, you know, he's probably been drinking, and I mean, just trying to self-medicate and do whatever he can to get through the days. I think people thought that things were looking on the up and up for him. Him and his wife were no longer together. However, he had gotten with this model. What was her name? Did I write it down? Ksenia Mikhailova. But anyway, he was with her. He had just asked her to marry him not too long ago, and he even posted a picture that she said yes on his Instagram. So people believe that things were on the up and up for him. But then the last tweet that he posted, which was on January 21st, said, "The grieving of a child is a process. It begins on the day your child passes, and it ends the day the parents join them." So not sure if that's a cryptic message, or if it was a call for help, but that was his last tweet. And then a couple of weeks later we find out that he is dead in his Woodland Hills home. He was only 52 years old, so he was really young when he started on Young and the Restless, and had worked his way into many people's hearts over the years, who are still soap opera fans to this day. Even though he hasn't been on the show in the last couple of years, people still love Neil Winters. And I was sad. I wasn't surprised, but I was sad, because I knew when I had saw that interview, my husband and I, one time we had watched it, and I was like, he is done for. So I really feel like, even though they're saying that it was alcohol poisoning, I honestly feel that he died from a broken heart. So I just wanted to say he leaves behind, I believe, 2 children, 2 daughters, and a fiance, and just scores and scores of fans from the soap opera world. In the black acting world, he was a well-respected actor who's just been around for a long time, and just a familiar face, and we will miss him. So I just wanted to say rest in peace to Kristoff St John. Savage, also known as Shaya Ben Abraham Joseph. He was arrested by ICE right at the beginning of Super Bowl weekend out here in Atlanta. He was in the car with some friends of his. He was arrested by ICE. His friends, some like local rappers, were also arrested, I guess for drug or something like that, that they might have marijuana or something on them. He didn't have any drug offense, but like I said, ICE arrested him because turns out that he was an illegal alien that was here that had overstayed his visa. All right, so they're saying he came when he was around 10 years old. He had a visa at the time, and when the visa ran out, he just continued to stay. He went to middle school here. He went to high school here. He's been an Atlanta resident the entire time. Okay. We all know the background story of 21 Savage. I mean, there's a reason why they called him that. He was always not in trouble, but he didn't get caught often. But, he said he was a robber. He would rob people and take things. I mean, he was just like a savage out there. I think he got caught once, and that's why he had that one felony. Served his time. I think they gave him 12 months probation, and once he went through that, his lawyer was able to get it expunged. So I've heard a few stories. I'm not real clear on whether or not he was in the process of still trying to get trying to get his citizenship. I'm not real clear on any of that. What people are saying is ICE was alerted when he applied for something back in 2017. But again, this is all hearsay. I've heard a lot of stories. I'm not sure exactly what it is. The bottom line to me, though, you guys, is he is a very well-known rapper. This story has blown up, and I believe that they're going to make an example out of him and send him back. Okay, the fact that he had that felony, even though it's been expunged, they say that ICE does not have to go by the expungement. They can still recognize this felony that he has on his record, well, even though it's not there any longer. But the whole problem is that you were here illegally. So now they're saying, oh, yeah, you tried to be here. You was trying to do, you weren't doing the right thing. It would have been different, I suppose, if he would have been back home and wherever home might be. Okay, is he from Great Britain? Like, I don't even really know exactly where he's from. I know his mother still has a British accent. Had he probably applied from somewhere else trying to get here, then maybe it would have been granted faster. But they're saying here in the United States, the list is so long that it's, you know, so involved just trying to get your citizenship. You know, I don't want to give the wrong information because I don't know. But all I will say is, I feel like they're going to make the example out of him, especially with all the drama that's going on with the fact that y'all stupid ass president has so many issues with illegal aliens coming into the country the wrong way. Okay. And we do know that he has a past, even though he has changed for the better, and seemed to have really kind of dug his heels into being a better person, putting out better content, you know, talking positivity, just kind of getting out of that whole gangster, you know, trap boy persona that he had from the beginning. Right when he's about to make the change, you know, now it's like, oh, we got you, okay, and we're gonna make an example out of you because, you know, you just kind of fit all of the things that we said are what's wrong with illegal aliens that come into our country. It's a sad situation. I feel really, really bad for him. I remember my son called me and he was just like, well, why is everybody so upset? I mean, it's not like he's not rich and he's not going to be able to, you know, still live well if they send him back. And I said, first of all, Joe, where is sending him back to? Okay, he's here. His family is here, I presume. You know, his life is here. Just imagine if one day they told you got to go to a place that, you know, you can afford to live at, but you are unfamiliar with everything and everybody there. Okay, and they're telling you you can't go back to your home. And finally Joe understood. I was just like, yes, it's just like, it doesn't matter that he's rich. Okay, all his family, and you know, he has kids, and like all of his, everybody is here, and you mean to tell me that I'm not going to be able to be there with them? Now, you know, people will argue that you got to do the right thing, and you know, you can't be here illegal, and you know, oh well, that's the way it goes, you know, that's the way the ball bounces, and I got all of that. But still, you know, I feel real bad for him. And, you know, they had the memes going around and, you know, people were sharing them on Instagram. It was all over Instagram. I did see when Demi Lovato posted that, you know, that she thought that, you know, one was funny and everybody went off on her about it, you know. But then I was just like, but you guys been posting it all day. All right. So you going off on this girl really took it way too far. Okay. Yeah, she shouldn't have said it. When you a celebrity, certain things like that that's so touchy, you just need to just stay quiet. So she shouldn't have said it, but people were taking it so far, and knowing that she has these mental issues, okay, that she just recovered from a drug overdose, almost died, people saying that she needs to die and all this. I was just like, what the fuck is wrong with the world today? Now, you guys was all posting the shit. Where was she seeing it? You know, and even Chris Brown just recently posted something, and Offset did call him out, say, you know, that shit is not funny, and I don't think it's funny. But what was interesting to me is that Chris Brown didn't receive all the same backlash that Demi Lovato did. When I saw that, when they were going off on her, I was just like, she should have never said nothing. You know, it's just social media can just be very cruel. Okay, and she made a mistake. She made a misstep. She shouldn't have said anything, and it was just a mess. But yet and still, getting back to the subject of 21 Savage, you know, I feel really, really bad for him because I really don't think that he's going to be able to stay. They sent Slick Rick back, and you guys remember Slick Rick was a felon. Once he finished his sentence, they was like, you got to go. All right, so I kind of feel like the same thing is going to happen to 21 Savage eventually. I don't know how the visas work. People say that he can get an entertainment visa. He can possibly come back in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. It's just going to depend on the stipulations, you know, with his deportation, attached to his deportation. We'll see. But yeah, I just felt, I mean, that is a sad story. I cannot imagine. Okay. The one benefit is that he has money. But what good is money when all of your everything is thousands and thousands of miles away? I suppose he can move everybody there where he's gonna be, but I'm sure he doesn't want to do that. He's from Atlanta. Yeah, so it's sad. So we're just gonna say keep your head up, 21 Savage. What's his real name? Shaya Ben Abraham Joseph. Hope it all works out for the best for you. Alright, you guys, let's talk about your boy Liam Neeson. So, you know, he's doing promo for this new movie that he has coming out called Cold Pursuit. And he was doing an interview with The Independent. I guess they were talking about, you know, his character exacting revenge and, you know, this whole revenge plot thing. And he somehow decided that he was going to relate his character's character to himself. And so he shared a personal experience with the interviewer and told him that there was once his friend, she told him that she had been raped, and he was so upset about it. Okay, well, did you know who the person was? And she said no, she did not. Okay, he said, well, what was he? And she said he was a black man. Now, Liam Neeson, upset from what his friend told him, decided that he would go and exact his own revenge on any black man that would approach him. He said that he went to neighborhoods, you know, where there would be pubs where black men would be coming out of, and he just hoped that somebody would approach him so that he can beat their ass for his friend who had been raped. Okay, now, of course, I'm listening to this story and I was like, you gonna let that movie get your ass fucked up, Liam? Okay, this ain't Taken, baby. This is real life. Run up on the wrong motherfucker, they gonna beat your ass. Okay, while you out here trying to exact some fucking revenge. So that's the first thing that came to my mind. But when I thought about it deeper, I'm thinking to myself, like, listen, you think that you would have felt better by beating up or possibly killing an innocent man? Has nothing to do with anything that happened to your friend. Okay, you were going to get some sort of resolution. You were going to get some sort of relief out of doing that. See, this is why it's so difficult to be a black person. First of all, black people are so used to not, you know, winning in any kind of way, okay, and just kind of having to deal with it. All right. When it happens to a white person, they are just so outdone, like they just can't believe that this has happened to them, to their friends, somebody in their family, that they want to go out and. Can you imagine if we as black people decided that we was going to go out and kill, you know, all the white people because they have wronged us in some sort of way? Okay. It's just like when I was listening to the story, I was just like, he is fucking crazy. All right. Even if you did have them thoughts, this ain't shit that you supposed to be sharing on a damn interview. Okay. Yeah, you way too caught up in what you've been doing on the screen and trying to relate that to real life, and it is not the same thing. So now that they're doing this, you know, the press for this show, Lionsgate, which is the production company for the movie, they have decided to cut off promo because of his dumb ass. Because, you know, it almost felt like he was just trying to be tough. Because it's just like, Liam, really? You going over to the black neighborhoods and you walking down the street waiting for somebody? Okay. So I was just like, was he even serious? Was that even real? And see, now you didn't put your foot in your mouth. Because now he's trying to go around and, you know, doing this whole, you know, I'm not a racist. But it's just like, no, too little, too late, but bruh. You need to really take a real long, deep, long, hard look inside yourself. You thought that shit was okay. But... yeah, child. I was listening to that. I was just like, yeah, you gonna get your ass real dealt with. So, keep on thinking like that. Well, of course, now he's not. Like I said, they promos shut down. Ain't no red carpet. Okay, I guess this was going to be a pretty big movie for Lionsgate and for, you know, Liam Neeson and all. They have shut it all down. They gonna let this shit go on, pass through. Hope they can make, you know, they little money. They say it's gonna be like a 2,500 theater release. So it's a big release. Okay, y'all gonna go see Liam Neeson? Y'all let me know. So there was an electrical fire on January 28th at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York. When that happened, the heat and the electricity went out in the facility. Now, this happened to be the same time that the polar vortex was hitting in the Midwest and Upper East Coast areas of the United States. Okay, and you guys remember those were sub-zero temperatures. Even people who had warm homes to be in was complaining about how cold it was. All right, well, this is a jail. They had I think they said 1,700 inmates in there who were sitting in 30-degree cells in the dark, no hot water running. Okay, just the basic necessities. You know, people say, well, they in jail, you know, why? But see, you got to remember that people that are in jail still have human rights. People in jail, a lot of them are not in there for violent offenses. All right. And even if they are, like, you can't put these people in jail. There's laws in place that you can't put them in jail and then neglect them. People started getting aware of what the situation was. The jail had cut off visitation, so families weren't able to go and visit with their loved ones. They said that they weren't even letting them out of their cells, so they were trapped in their cells 24/7, freezing cold, no extra clothing, no extra blankets or anything. Well, you know, people were calling out to the mayor. And at first they said the Bureau of Prisons was denying that any of this was going on. All right. I think they got some activists involved and they were able to get in there or finally talk to some of the guards, and the guards was saying how cold it was and what was going on. So once everybody came aware what the situation was, and you know, they gathered up protesters, got out there in the front of the you know, just surrounded the building, and the inmates were clanging on the windows or clanging on their bars just so that people outside could hear that you know, they don't have any heat. That was their way of communicating. I know you guys all saw the video of Yandy. People call her Yandy. Yandy Luther King. Yandy Smith from Love and Hip Hop. She was there. You know, there were many activists there trying to get it done, and not just activists, but people who have loved ones there, people who just are generally concerned about the well-being of their fellow man. I mean, it was a lot of people down there, and Yandy definitely was one of the people that was there as well. You know, we talk about Yandy, and we got a lot to say about Yandy, but I will say this. Yandy, I have seen her on many more than I have seen probably any other reality show reality star from the Love and Hip Hop franchise anyway. She has been seen on many, you know, causes and protests, you know, lending her voice, lending her face, and out there and showing her support. And I just cannot be mad at that. You know, I can't sit here and say if she's doing it just because, you know, she wants public. I mean, that's a lot to be doing over and over and over again. And, you know, you don't mean it somewhere. All right, because that's she's out there, it's freezing cold. Yeah, so I can't clown Yandy. I think that is commendable that she does that, because many of us don't do that. Okay, I don't know if I would, because I don't have any family in prison or in jail. So I don't even know if I would have been one to do that, especially when it was as cold as it was. But anyway, it had got to be such a mess. People were getting so frustrated, you know, emotions was getting high. They had decided that they were going to kind of like bombard the jail and get in there just so they can see what was going on. And the police was there waiting for that ass, had pepper spray, sprayed Yandy. I mean, it was so much commotion. You know, she was screaming, her sister was videotaping, and everybody was trying to get the water, and it was just all this confusion and yelling and screaming. I was just like, Lord, what is going on down there? But it wasn't all for naught, because eventually they were able to get the electricity turned back on, I think Sunday night. So it had been 6 days, just one day short of a week. The electricity did come back on. They saw the lights come on. It still reports that the heat is not on. Okay, or they're saying that the heat is spotty. It's only in certain areas of the building. I was like, probably not in any of the cells, probably where the administration and the guards and stuff are probably sitting. But to me, I was thinking to myself, like, they had that whole place at 30 degrees, 33 degrees. And do you not care about your guards? Like, your guards are watching these people, and you got them freezing too. Fuck, they at work all day. So anyway, after the lights came on, they said that they were going to start up the family visits. You know, they would let visitation start back on that Monday. And then, you know, there was a bomb threat Monday. So then they decided that they were going to have to put the visitation on hold. And, you know, because of the threat of the bomb, you know, people are saying that's coincidental and thinking that, you know, That's just their way of not letting people get up in there just yet. But as of now, I think it's Thursday, they're still saying that the heat is not all the way on, but it's not as cold as it had been in New York. But y'all know how it is when it's cold outside. It's colder in your house. And all that metal, all that, you know, concrete, no carpet and all of that. I mean, you can imagine how cold it is in there, and people getting sick. They're saying a lot of people very, very afraid, just cold, shiver. I mean, I can't imagine. When our power went out that one night, I have never been so fucking cold in my life. My whole family was in one bed. I could not get warm. Everybody was asleep except for me. I mean, I was shivering. I was looking around like, how the fuck are y'all all asleep? I mean, I was freezing cold, and I know my house wasn't, it probably was down in the 40s, but of course I had blankets and I had all of this other extra that I could try to make myself a little bit warmer. You imagine being up in there and just having no access to nothing. You just got your thin you know, whatever your prison garb is, your little blanket, your little pillow that they give you, and that's it. It's terrible. I don't know how people can just be evil to people like that, but yeah. So we'll keep our eye on it. You know, you haven't heard as much about it now that they got the lights back on. But yeah, like I said, the heat is not all the way back on. So we're going to keep on listening out. And when I find out more, I'll let you guys know. So they say that your boy Steve Harvey is trying to get Wendy Williams' time slot on Fox. So you guys know I told you about Steve Harvey's show being canceled on NBC. And it, unbeknownst to him, hit him like a ton of bricks. He wasn't expecting it, and they replaced him with Kelly Clarkson. Okay, now I do love Kelly Clarkson, but I must say that I don't know how she's gonna be a you know, she's sort of almost annoying to me, but she's like cute, but like also sort of like, oh Lord, like how's this gonna go? So I'm not real sure how Kelly Clarkson is gonna do. We'll see once her show gets started. But getting back to Steve Harvey, they're saying that he wants that time slot, not necessarily her show, but he's hoping that if he can get into the time slot, that he will be able to kind of, you know, adopt some of Wendy Williams' viewers and then get into some sort of race with the Kelly Clarkson show, because they'll be on at the same time. Now, when does Kelly Clarkson, I mean, Steve Harvey's show on NBC was in the afternoon, right? Does Wendy Williams' show come on in the afternoon? I guess in certain markets they're talking about. I'm not quite sure. But they're saying there, because you guys know it's just on the blogs, they're saying that he has his eye on that spot. Now, people are upset with him for even looking at the spot, considering that Wendy Williams hasn't said that her show is canceling, that she's not coming back, anything like that. But I guess the longer that Wendy Williams stays away, you know, people have to start being realistic and wondering, like, okay, is she coming back? They did post a picture of her coming out of a grocery store, so we know she's alive. Other than that, we don't know much more about her condition, what's going on with her, what, you know, her thoughts are about coming back or anything. I know Nick Cannon, who is acting as the host right now, who seems to be doing a really good job. And if I was to think of anybody that I thought could be in that same spot if they did try to keep this talk, you know, this show going, I think Nick Cannon would be the perfect person for it. Okay, now they've tried a bunch of different people in the past, but I think Nick Cannon is the best person because, you know, he's a little bit outspoken, kind of petty. You know, he's able to kind of say what he wants to say, very much like Wendy, and not necessarily in a messy way, but you know, he's outspoken, and I think that might work. I remember they had what's the guy? The other white guy was good too. What was his name? I can't think of his name. Remember when they had Don Lemon? It's like, who was Don Lemon on Wendy Williams' show? What made them think that was gonna work? Child, that did not work. Don will not be returning, I can promise you that. Yeah, people are upset with Steve Harvey. Not surprising again, because Steve Harvey, we know that in the past that he's been known to be cutthroat and looking out for number one, which is himself, and fuck Wendy Williams and whatever she got going on, because damn it, he wants to get into this ratings race with Kelly Clarkson for being, you know, he mad that he was wronged by NBC. So, but this is all allegedly, child, so we don't really know if that's what it is, but that is what they're saying. Right now, still, no word on Wendy Williams when she's returning. I think Nick Cannon is only going to be a couple more days, and then I think they're going to have Sherry Shepherd next week, I heard, and some other people. Who y'all think would be a good host for the show? I'm trying to think of another woman, another man. Nick Cannon would be the man. Who would be the other woman y'all think would be good for the show? Maybe they just need to kind of wrap the show up and let Wendy Williams, you know, kind of go out in her own glory. What y'all think? Let me know. Alright, you guys, and then lastly in quickies, let's talk about the game versus Joe Budden. I'm not going to get into this whole thing. I listened to the Joe Budden podcast. You guys know that I am not a podcast person, but I put it on the other day and I cleaned up my house while I listened. I really have admiration for Joe Budden. When I sit and listen to him talk, he makes so much sense. He gets on my nerves sometimes. Like most people, I'm sure I get on you guys' nerves sometimes, but you know, generally I think that he is a smart man. He knows what he's talking about, and I enjoyed the podcast of him talking about the whole history of him and Game and the beef and, you know, where it came from and how his fiance Sin got worked into this whole thing. He's pissed. You could tell he's mad. But I think he handled it very, very well. Didn't get into no nigga shit, even though he was like nigga a few times. But was able to express himself on why he thought that the game really didn't have to do this. Okay, I think that the game does not have to resort to these kind of things, but anytime when these big celebrities, these rappers, these entertainers get to doing shit that's so off the wall and out there, it is stunts and shows. There is a problem somewhere. They are concerned that they're not as relevant as they had been, that they are losing their touch, and then they resort to doing shit like this. Now, I've always felt like he was whack. People was upset. People didn't have a problem with him talking about Kim Kardashian, and I was just like, that's fucked up. Even if it is Kim Kardashian, like, this is a woman, you know, she ain't did shit to him. You know, Kanye hadn't even done shit to him. He you know, she ain't fucking around no more. Even if she was doing that back in the day, she was single, you know, and now you just putting all this business out there is so unnecessary. I thought he was whack then. Y'all done finally came around now that he done said some shit about somebody that you guys like, okay, which is Sin, but it was wrong already from the beginning, you know. And then for him to do it again with Joe Budden and Sin, like, it's just like, that's whack. That is so whack, you know. So that's kind of all I feel about it. I just was really disappointed because the game is a talented rapper. He's from the West Coast, you know, and he just gets into these crazy, he just does dumb shit to me like a child. He's very, very childish. So that was it. But did you guys listen to the podcast? The podcast was really, really good. You guys should listen to it. Give you the whole history on their back and forth. Next, congratulations are in order to Ashley and Michael Darby from Real Housewives of Potomac fame. Okay, they are infanticipating. That's right, you guys. Old Michael has spread his worms to another girl. This time it's Ashley. You know, he got a 24 and a 27-year-old. Okay, here come Paw having another little baby. You know, we knew that Ashley and him were trying. Well, Ashley been trying to have a baby. I think she had been pregnant, and then she had a miscarriage. They had stopped trying, but, you know, they were half carrying on their regular sexual relationship. And out of the blue, I guess I can move this around. Out of the blue, she was said she wasn't feeling well. She took a test and found out that she was pregnant. They were so happy. She said they were overcome with joy, that they were crying. And I was like, can you imagine either one of them old hard people crying? It don't seem like, well, Ashley maybe, but I don't see Michael doing too much crying. But anyway, they say she's 5 months pregnant now. They're keeping the sex of the baby secret. They may do a gender reveal. We don't know. But yeah, congratulations to the happy couple. Alright, rock stars, let me get off of here. We do this every single week, so make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you come back. Until next time, rock stars. Bye.